get it started now. Freedom, 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 freedom. My freedom begins at Life Force Canada.
I'm not too sure if anyone has seen that meme out there, but it's really great. It states, the only people who are mad at you for speaking the truth are the ones living a lie. I love that one. Hello, I'm Karen. Welcome to Life Force Canada. Together we rise. We're here just connecting everyone from across Canada just to stay focused on our mission of creating a parallel society and the restoration plan. I know the spring equinox is here, which offers a time of rebirth for all of us, transitioning from caterpillar to butterfly. I'm actually going to just dive right into our topics today. Before we get into where we're going in regards to Life Force Canada, I just wanted to show you some footage of how they are lying about this fake war in Ukraine. We all know, right, that everything on the news is just entertainment. However, so many have bought into the idea that there's a real war happening in Ukraine when it's actually a fake war. And so I have a blog post I want to show you, and it's by Les Lefebvre. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's an illusion warfare correspondent and economic advisor. And then I'm going to share a video from Mark Christopher. This here is actually their Twitter posts, but Twitter's banned me. They banned me in 2020, so I have no access to Twitter, which is a great thing. However, he has posted quite a few images. He actually went from Poland to Ukraine. He just shares his journey. I will share a few here. So when he arrived at the train station, they said they had everyone bottlenecked and compressed into the ticket hall so the media can create this illusion of hell on earth. Outside he calls it the refugee train station, police vehicles would loop around the block with their sirens on every 20 minutes. He said wherever you went in that area, you would see movie stages. They had lighting, camera, action ready to go. Because they had a curfew from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., if you were still in the train station, you had to actually stay in the train station. So when people were there at night, it looked like a refugee camp, but it wasn't. It was just they were being forced to stay there. And so they had these photo ops, he said. It was just amazing. And then he would walk around the city and there's like nobody around. But this here video is at the train station. And because there are people there, the media creates props like the trash can, etc. But when he would go outside of this media area, there was nothing happening. I'm not going to share all these videos. I'll share the link with you. But yeah, he's just walking around and he said, people are walking their dog. What's happening is they have a curfew and the news is letting people know that you have to stay in your home. You're not allowed to look out your window. It's just lie after lie after lie. Oh yeah, they have these props everywhere, abandoned cars, blockades, checkpoints. He said the police are like Agent Smith walking around. If they see anyone filming with their camera, their camera can be taken away and they will be told to leave right away. They say there's no food anywhere, right? So I just want to share that with you. And this one here is Mark Christopher. Love this guy.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I have a man, an honorable man, a brave soul, Ukraine, that is going to share with us a lot of insights. This is to expose the magnitude of the lies that's being told to you to the so-called mainstream media, especially the BBC, who are totally and utterly corrupt in everything that they have done. And whatever comes out of these people's mouths are just lies. You cannot even believe if they are talking a fact or a lie. So they are completely being dismissed. Anybody paying TV licenses, like in the UK, as it were, are just paying to be lied. I'm now going to introduce you folks to him. And he's not going to show his face because I didn't want him to show his face. And he is going to move around he's going to move the camera to let you people know it is a live feed. And he's going to show you the city, and he's going to show you the insights of what the Ukraine de facto government is also transmitting as so-called warfare, when eyewitnesses, including through Skycam, will reveal that all this is a lie. So let's hear from the man himself.
Hi, Mark.
Thank you very much for sharing this with us. And can you just move your camera a little bit just to let the audience know this is not a still image?
Yeah, sure can. Okay.
Yeah. And what are we looking at the moment?
You're looking at the skyline of Odessa. Odessa is a seaport down in the south of Ukraine.
Okay. And have you seen any news reports or television reports that there is bombing, shelling, anything of that nature taking place, actually happening, as the newspapers and the television stations are reporting?
That's a big negative.
Okay, can you talk us through the things that you emailed me about, the warfare, where they're getting these footages from?
Yeah, sure. Okay, for the first week, I thought this was real. I thought, wow, so it's going to be a big war, and I'm, stuck in it. So I spent a lot of time looking at, as everyone else, looking at videos on news and stuff. And yet it wasn't matching, nothing was making sense. Everything was wrong. And I came to realize after 1 week, it's all baloney. Like, there's an artillery gun here in Odessa, a big one. And when it fires, it makes a big boom and it shakes my windows. Now, I was in the military, and I've fired, mortars, and I have course in, principles of artillery. So I know if you fire once with an artillery gun, you cannot hit anything. You have to have a spotter to walk you onto the target. So this artillery gun is firing once per day for about 4 days in a row. And one shot will not hit anything. So I knew right off something's wrong. They're not trying to hit anything. They're just firing the gun. And I think all this stuff is just to scare people, because I also get SMSs from the government telling you to don't look out windows. If you see fighting, don't watch them. You're prohibited, actually. So you're prohibited from watching anybody fighting and from looking out windows and, things like this. And if you see weapons, don't pick them up, which is contrary to what I saw on news saying that the government was giving out guns and stuff to people. They just actually had an SMS saying the opposite. So there's all sorts of, false information out there. In Odessa, it's totally quiet. There has been, as I say, the artillery gun firing. It stopped. Then there's also air raid sirens. Now, here's a good story. I can I vouch for this because I saw it with my own eyes. I was walking down the street Sunday morning, and I saw 4 press guys. They all had press on the back of their jackets, and they're just standing there waiting. And I was thinking to myself, Sunday morning, 4 guys from news, something's up. So I was looking around, I saw nothing. So I kept walking. A few minutes later, I heard an air raid siren. This was new. It never went off before. So then there's a big air raid siren, it's really loud. So those fake news guys were just waiting for the siren to go off, and then we'll start filming. And I noticed too, the guy, the presenter, is wearing a big flak jacket and a big helmet. So it's looking like it's a war zone, right? Plus with the air raid siren, that's how they're making all this look like a war zone. I have people I know in Chernigov, Lugansk, and Kiev. And if you go to Chernigov, like Battle of Chernigov, you'll see burning tanks, epic battles. But actually, the person I know there told me the Russian troops are waiting outside the city, waiting. And like that was for 7 days. I haven't contacted it for a while because I know it's fake now. They're just waiting there. There's no battles. There's no fighting. Kiev, there's been some explosions and they're claimed to be from missiles, but no one there sees missiles or anything in the air, which is suspicious. So they could just well be like C4 dynamite being detonated, in different places. And there are gunfire. Like I've heard other people say they hear gunfire here and they saw a missile fly by. So there are things being shot off, but whether, there's nobody getting killed or any of the stuff you see on TV.
In this part of the world and in the US, it's being reported that this is like a war zone with all the images that you have just said. Now, it sounds like to me they're also not just rehearsing these things for international press. They're also getting the people within these nations, within the Ukraine, to actually believe that the Russians are coming, the commies are coming, the capitalists are coming, the socialists are coming, the boogeyman is coming. How far is my description? How accurate is my description?
I think you're bang on because it's like a fear campaign. It's like Corona, like on TV, there's all sorts of dead people, but in real life, there's nothing. And it's the same here. People are scared. Like when I walk down the street, I'm always walking around to see what I can see. There's nobody around. They're all hiding in their house. They're afraid. Some even left the country. There's a lot of people. They just left like as refugees to Romania, Moldova, Poland. They're scared.
Because they actually believe the newspapers, the televisions, and the abject, I would like to say propaganda, but it's an absurd level of lies upon lies from the government that is so effective that it actually works on the people.
It's amazing. People I know, like won't contact me anymore because they're mad at me, because I tried telling them, there's nothing going on, just look outside. And they refuse to believe that or even think about it. They just say, no, can't all be lies.
So look, we know that through movies like Terminator, they got people so frightened as to not to actually think about or going anywhere near artificial intelligence or cameras and so on and so forth. And yet the cameras that are overlooking Ukraine, the cities, are all saying that there is no conflict because we have the live images. And I can qualify that by just showing it to people. This is a live cam footage, okay? And you can see people walking about, and that's in, I can't pronounce it, but Kiev, I think. So that's that bit. And we have, Skynet, which is the Terminator movie, getting people so frightened so they don't actually even go onto Skynet and check for themselves with the international live cams set up everywhere in Washington, D.C., London, Ukraine, Russia. That all this is just rubbish because the BBC will be transmitting in the same place that the cam is looking at, the international webcams, and all they're doing is just providing fake news. That's all. It's all just rehearsed. And that's what these people are witnessing. Sorry, beg your pardon. That's what they're witnessing with all of these things. The BBC is reporting this, that there is crisis in Russia. And in a live cam, you can see there is no crisis anywhere. These are things that they can just simply click of a button. They can look anywhere in the world, log in, and you can see that they are lying to people. The point I wanted to make with everybody, you see, in law, we have what is known as eyewitness, an ear witness, a witness to the spirit of things. You folks out there, all 91,000 subscribers, and all the people here watching this are witness to a lie. And because of this, you now have more standing in law than the de facto governments. That's why I am able to do what I do. And that's why this gentleman is able to do what he's doing, because he knows what his standing is. Look, do you have any more insights that you can share with us?
I think it's just a fear campaign. They have an agenda, all these creepy people in our leadership. They got some goal they want to achieve, and they need everybody scared in order to do it, because it's going to be something very sneaky underneath. What that is, remains to be seen. I have my theory anyway.
Okay, would you like to share that theory with us?
I think because, as you know, in contracts, there's a force majeure clause, which means that includes war. So if you have a contract where you owe money, for example, and if there's war, that debt can be forgiven. Am I correct?
Yes, yes. Yeah, all contracts are null and void in times of warfare.
I suspect because I think Ukraine owes about $56 billion, and I'm guessing that debt will be either, forgiven or severely dropped down.
I think I understand. So the purpose of war, we know, is to kill people. And here's the lesson, folks. The identical word for kill is also C-U-L-L, which means to cull. So when they say killed in battle, they're saying this man, this woman, this baby, this infant, this child was culled by battle. That means that your own government killed you. Culled. That's when there is too much deer in your field, too many squirrels, too many chickens in your farm, and you kill them to keep the numbers down. That is what kill means. That's why they never use the word murder. You was not murdered in a concentration camp. You was not murdered in a battlefield. They use the word cull to signify to the coroner, because this runs out to the county coroner's offices, to say that this man was culled as part of a culling operation by the county coroner's court, by the government, which are all participants in murder. And that's another thing that they're going to try to escape from. So the gentleman is now going to take his camera out before we lose sunlight, and he's going to show us the city that is in the skyline. So you know, and I know, that he is exactly where he says he is. So please share with us the footage.
And as you see, it's pretty quiet. There's no gunfire or any of that baloney.
What is that building with the dome on there?
That's an embassy.
What embassy is that?
So
You're starting to come in a little bit. Don't show your face, please. I don't want you to show your face there. That's fine. So what embassy did you say it was?
Cyprus embassy.
Cyprus embassy. So people can qualify this by just simply looking up on Google, Ukraine Cyprus embassy, and they can see the shape of it. They can see live footages of it, and etc. And also they can log in to these live cams, or what's known as Skycam, and have a look at these embassies to see and qualify for themselves that this is a true skyline. Okay, that is that. Look, there's a few other things you were saying about how they are using footages from the 2014 to 2006 battle that they had. They're just using those footages also to transmit to the world. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Sure. Now, most people don't know, but between 2014 and now, in fact, just like a couple of weeks ago, there's been serious artillery firing on Donetsk, and they've leveled a lot of the places in Donetsk. So there's serious battles have been going on there for years and years. And they're just recycling all that stuff, and people don't know because they don't look carefully. They just watch for a few seconds and they share it with somebody without really looking at it. And this is how the lie is built. People aren't careful. They just have a look at something for a few seconds and they're convinced. And once they're convinced, you have a hard time trying to bring them around.
So the reactionary population, those ones who are actually convinced, are the ones that are actually spreading the bad news. They're the ones that are contaminating other people with these fake news. So this is like a plague. The newspapers and televisions are actually a plague, and a plague needs to be taken out. You know, they need to be removed rather than just, you know, like a psychological virus. The newspapers, television stations, the BBC, they're actually a plague on man.
Well put.
Well, thank you very much. Look, I've got to say, and I'm hoping that everybody can hear you, because they sometimes interfere with transmission. I want to thank you for your bravery. You're not the only one that I have as, you know, in Ukraine. There are other people talking to me, but you're the first one that's agreed to speak to me live as eyewitnesses that we are, now that the whole world listening to this transmission is also eyewitness, and they have a greater standing in law than any body in any government position. That's what I want to make clear to them. Yeah, the power is in your hands. The knowledge is in your hands. You need to go and do something about it. You know, use your autograph, use your thumbprint. That carries the entire weight of your family and the generations before it. Your thumbprint, your autograph, quite literally carries the entire weight of your body on this earth, and including your ancestry. You folks need to learn to use it. Look, thank you very much. I would very much like you to, you know, end this transmission by saying something to the world, because it's you that's putting your position, as it were. You know, it's you that's doing this. You're the one that's bringing this to the world. What do you have to say to the Americans, the Canadians, the Ukrainians, the entire world?
I think that people just have to be more responsible. You have to realize that, you know, TV, it's not to help you. It's not your friend. You have to really look at it as just entertainment. And news is entertainment. It's no different. So you have to assume everything they show you is just like a movie and take it from there. If you think it's real, you're making a serious mistake.
The world is a stage, and we know that these people are operating under a theatre license. The BBC operates under a theatre license, and all newspaper reporters, television crews, all operate under a theatre license. That is why no journalist or any one of these people that have actually taken oath are reporting anything. Only reporters are allowed to report on theatre, because it's all fake news, and that's part of theatre. A journalist has to have an oath, and if his oath is not at hand, and he's not under the penalty of perjury, as we are under the penalty of perjury, or on a geometric levels playing field with penalty, you know, looking at us, as it were. They are just all actors, and the whole thing, as the gentleman said, is a theatre production, getting you to believe that it's all real. Thank you very much. You know, you have no idea how appreciative I am.
My pleasure.
And the people here probably want to thank you, you know, in person, as it were. So guys, write it out, put it in the comment box, you know, let yourself be known.
Breathe all that in, everyone. It's incredible, isn't it? Live cams, everyone. Live cams, Skynet. You can go on a Skynet and you can actually see the truth anywhere in the world. You're welcome, Rudy. Thank you, Olga. What was it? So he said that I wanted to mention, you are prohibited to look out your window in Ukraine. Isn't that just crazy? All contracts are null and void during the time of war. Yes, I'm not too sure if any of you have seen the video of the president of Ukraine in his black leather pants and high heels dancing, right? And so when they do things like that, right, they get paid out very well. Right, Sam, exactly. Please share this video. I'll be uploading it most likely tomorrow on our Life Force Canada YouTube channel. There's a lot of people, even in the freedom movement, that believe there's a war going on. You know, it's our job to let others know. And just so you know, because YouTube did ban me a couple of weeks ago, I will most likely name this video or the upload "Time to Bake Cookies" or something like that. I'm not too sure yet, but false evidence appearing real. That's exactly what it is, right? The acronym of fear, false evidence appearing real. And even if you found yourself being sucked into the illusion, that's okay, right? We need to start training our mind on how to discern information. And most importantly, we need to turn that television off, right? And entertainment is exactly what he said. Enter and train the mind. That's exactly what it's for. So the system is designed to keep you outside of yourself. And the inorganic ones, right, are here to keep you in a state of amnesia, to keep you living below the line, like I showed you last week in that chart, right? Living in fear, living in anger, confusion, keeping you believing in the idea of division, when the truth is we are all one. And they're going to continue to create separation and division until we wake up and remember who we truly are, and until we unplug. To unplug from this matrix is really going to take a lot of mental, emotional, physical discipline to not get caught up in any form of drama right now. And people are in drama. And when they are, they're hurting. So we can send compassion. But we are being called right now to not get drawn into a story, especially if we do not know both sides. Right. The only way we're going to create a new earth is when we shift our consciousness. How many of you are familiar with the law of one? Right, the material law. That is so powerful. It reminds you that there's no polarity. There's no right and wrong. There's no disharmony, only identity. We identify with others who are on the same frequency that we are, right? As I shared with you in the chart, when we're living above the line, none of that exists anymore in our frequency. And when we're above the line in the freedom frequency, all is one. And that one is love and light, infinite creator. So when you're feeding the dramas out there, you are immediately vibrationally moving yourself below the line, and you're separating yourself from infinite creator. And that is what this matrix is really designed to do. So in the law of one, it talks about the first step is know yourself. Second step is accepting yourself. Third step is knowing that you are infinite creator. And most of humanity right now is on, well, not even on the first step. And this is what sovereignty is about. This is what the parallel structure is about that we're stepping into, that we're co-creating together. Plot of land in BC. Oh, bought and undeveloped by China. Yeah, that's happening a lot. We know that there are negative forces at play, and the agenda, again, is to keep you below the line, to keep you from even looking at that first step and knowing your internal power system. And we forget that we made the choice, right, as souls to be here at this time to experience our own resistance to our own light. And so we're here to spiral up into growth and learn whatever we can. Okay, everyone, breathe in that life force energy. Just letting go of everything that does not serve us. Okay, so I have received many emails regarding where we're going with Life Force Canada. And since the PGSD has been dismantled, there's a lot of people that are frustrated. I get it. Confused. Some people are getting angry. Lacking direction is really big, and what to really focus on. And so even though we're focusing on the needs of our communities and our towns, focusing on projects, many have questions, valid questions. I don't believe there's any stupid question out there. And so we trust that we can find some solutions for you today and assist you in relieving any fears of uncertainty and give you more direction. And we have a few of our sovereign leaders from across Canada who would like to share their thoughts and the actions that they're taking and solutions that they're focusing on. So we'll start with you, Cecile, from Plan Council BC.
Hi, Karen. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Great. I'm sorry my camera's not working tonight.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we've definitely experienced all of the above in terms of the various thoughts and emotions that have come up since this happened. But we had created such a beautiful momentum that we also really decided not to just drop everything and run. Obviously, we don't want to, be dramatic about it, but at the same time, we want to be sort of judicious in how we move forward. So we had created a fair bit of momentum with the committees, having Wednesday night committee nights where we break out into breakout rooms and share ideas on different projects and do our needs assessments. And we were following the more formal template that Kelly had come out with just before this all went down, which was quite complicated, to tell you the truth. So it was a bit of a sigh of relief when we realized we didn't need to do that necessarily, and really just keep it more simple, more local, just more doable. So we're continuing to meet on our Wednesday nights. We're not having our formal council meetings. We haven't dissolved our council. We have our officers sort of there. We haven't changed our bylaws. We have not voted to make any changes whatsoever. It's just that our formal meetings are on hold. And we're just supporting our general membership to explore the various needs in their areas. And we've shared some documents to help create more of a simplistic container for needs assessments and project ideas. And we understood sort of via the grapevine from Child and Family team through Kareen, who's he had set up in BC, that Kim and Max and their team were looking more for ideas at this point, as opposed to a full-on project with all the financials done from A to Z. So right now we are just writing down our ideas, putting them into a simple format, and going to be moving those up the line soon. Or pending what comes from Kim, we may hold on to them a little bit longer. We definitely don't want to recreate the wheel and have to repeat work that's already done. So we're just taking it a little bit by baby steps, but keeping the ideas flowing and the momentum. So that's kind of where we're at.
Thank you so much, Cecile. And that is the key word, momentum. We do not want to lose our momentum. So thank you, Cecile, for bringing that up, and all of you continuing the journey.
Yeah, thank you. We're really committed, and we've come too far to just drop this. We've just come too far. We put in so much work. And we all have such passion. And yes, some of us are burnt out from all the admin stuff and all the endless meetings. So in a sense, it's a nice bit of a breather, because we're only meeting on the Wednesday instead of 3 or 4 meetings a week. And it's nice to put some of the admin side just aside for now. And yeah, go back to our roots, which was really all about the projects and the restoration.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cecile. Appreciate you and everyone.
You're welcome.
For all of us in Alberta, we feel the same way as all of you do in BC, because we know that we're actually going to need councils in the future. 100%. The people are going to require structure. A lot of people have no idea what it means to self-govern. And so I do believe that our council model that we're going to be stepping into is going to be more of an education platform, as it always really was intended to be. And so we meet in Alberta every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. and just to really inspire people to keep moving forward, continue with projects, etc. And it's just great to be connected with other people of like mind right now. So I think it's really important, and I really appreciate hearing that people are still, meeting with their members in their provinces, or whether it's a provincial county or provincial council or a county level or a town level. I think it's just really important for all of us to stay together. Okay, before I move into Saskatchewan, I just had a question that somebody asked here. Okay, so how can we create a parallel structure with no funding? Okay, there's infinite possibilities, my friends. We have been creating a parallel structure all along, of course, for the past year, and you may not see it physically yet, and you will not see the full manifestation of it until, of course, as I mentioned, consciousness has shifted. And right now, too many people are attached to this reality. And if you were living in a new parallel structure, what does that look like? The full expression of a new reality, right? From everything, from the smallest aspect to the grandest. And we need to look at that for ourselves. Like, what is our vision of a parallel structure? Of course, we've talked about this many times in regards to education and agriculture and the whole new financial system that's for the people, and media, of course, and free energy, all of this. And however, it comes down to what are we doing as individuals, right? What attachments do we still have to the structure that we're in? And as long as we're attached to prescription drugs, and as long as we're attached to watching television, attached to the house that we live in that's made of wood instead of made of hemp, attachment to products that we buy, which are not good for us, right? As long as humanity has resistance to change, this process of creating a new paradigm is going to take a little while, right? So money's not the issue. We as humans are the new parallel structure. You change the system as you change. And again, we are doing what we can, right? Individually, on a community level, and we just start there, and we can begin to make those powerful changes. It always starts with one person, right? So the changes I'm making is, I live in a city, in a suburb. I don't have a backyard garden. My backyard is deck, stone, brick. And so I've started my first microgreen garden in my kitchen. I just bought potato bags. So these are like small steps that I can create in my life that begin to create the parallel structure of me unplugging from buying from big box stores. And so it just starts with those small steps that we can take. Yes, tower gardens. Yes. Actually, Rachel and Patty, Rachel sells tower gardens here in Calgary. So we're going to be meeting with her next, in 2 weeks or so. What was that, Jim? Sorry, what are you sorry for? Okay, Plan Council Saskatchewan, Alin and Deb, welcome.
Hello, everyone. This is Alin, and I'm going to keep my video off because I've been having challenges with staying online with calls when I'm on video. So we've continued with our weekly Wednesday night meetings. That hasn't changed. They are a lot less structured than they have been in the past. And what we've really been doing is getting to know each other and what our gifts are. So really just getting to know each other, sharing ideas, learning more about what everyone's strengths are. And it's been really fantastic that way. We've also been having some Saturday morning coffee chats. They usually last about an hour and a half. People can drop in, stay for the whole hour and a half, or pop in for as long as they want. And what we do is we share project ideas, we brainstorm about things. We've been making lists of our provincial assets. We've been talking about different projects and what those projects look like, and how we can each individually get more involved with things at a community level, and how we can be better prepared. So kind of like put the oxygen mask on ourselves first so that we can get out and help our communities and our community, in our immediate area. So some of the things that we've talked about are community gardens. We've talked about greenhouses. We've talked about beekeeping. And we do have a couple of beekeeping clubs in Saskatchewan, and there's a lot of that going on. So those are all a bunch of different things that we've talked about. We've talked about water. And we're really interested to know about collaborating more with our provincial neighbors. So Alberta and Manitoba. And with that, I yield.
Thank you so much, Alin. I muted myself. Thank you. I'm so glad again that you are all staying together and staying connected. You mentioned to me, let me just see here if I can find the email. In regards to websites, and you're not the only one that asked, but yeah, right now what we're doing is we are just keeping our website as it is until the new structures are showcased. And I think that Jody, you asked too in regards to what the next strategy is since the PGSD has dissolved. We have no idea what that looks like yet. We're just right now focusing on what we can do in Canada. And again, as Cecile mentioned, and what Alin and Deb and everyone in Plan Council Saskatchewan and Alberta, what we're doing is just keeping the momentum going and staying committed to our mission of really stepping into what needs assessment looks like and projects, etc. So thank you again, Alin. Appreciate all you do. And speaking of projects, another question that came up was, how can we create a project if we've never created a business plan? That's a valid question. That is a learning process. And if you've been an employee most of your life that offered you a paycheck every 2 weeks, it can be a steep learning curve as you step out on the ledge to being an entrepreneur. And an entrepreneur, right? You're going to be wearing many, many hats. And and this is what it looks like when you step in and create a project, right? And when I say project as an entrepreneur, this is you creating a project that is a large commercial project. And it can be where you have employees, 5 employees to 100 employees. And this is going to involve learning many new skills. And one of those is learning how to create and write a business plan. I've written too many business plans over the years, and they are my least favorite thing to do, but a necessary step if you want to raise capital or funding. And a business plan proves that you're serious about your business or your project. It determines your financial needs. It forces you to research and really know your market so that you can attract people to join in your venture, right? And I recommend, if you want to focus on a project, that you make the choice to either start your own project or use your skills to assist someone who's already in an existing project or a business that you really align with, that's focused on the restoration plan. And I believe there are many on the call here who have existing businesses and would like to grow them as well. So either way, you have to have a strong work ethic. You have to be adaptable to change, have people skills, right? And organizational skills, a commitment to lifelong learning, as I know all you do. And most importantly, passion, right? Passion, because if you don't have passion, you're not going to want to get up in the morning. So that's going to be really key. And I've been on both sides of the fence. And while I currently enjoy what I do having my own business for the past 20 years, I wanted to dispel that myth that working for yourself is nothing but sunshine and rainbows, because it's not. It's dedication, and you're, again, wearing many, many hats. So sure, there's tons of advantages, and I've created many projects, as I mentioned, and it involves a lot of hours, a lot of energy, and I don't want to pop anyone's bubble. However, it's important to get real with yourself. It's important to get real with what you want to create in your own life, right? There are reasons why many do not take on projects. Just look around your home at projects you said you would finish and never got around to, right? That's what I'm talking about. So if you are an entrepreneur and you have the skills necessary to achieve that success and step into a big project to get the funding, awesome. We are going to be your greatest cheerleaders ever. Okay. And we're here, we're here to empower you and assist you in any way we can. So, yeah. Okay, Karen Hanna from Plan Council Manitoba is going to share. Hello, Karen.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. Thank you. Yeah, we have been, I think it's been 2 meetings now since we did a bit of a pivot. We'd been meeting every Thursday at 7 o'clock for our public meetings. And so the last 2 weeks, we changed our meeting time to 8 o'clock because we were also doing our environment committee on the same evening at 8:30. So we just rolled that all into one meeting, and it's a very same group that have been, that we're busy working month after month doing research on orders and whatnot, that are continuing to participate on our weekly meetings. And so yeah, like I say, we're just kind of in the middle of doing that pivot because we were so focused on the research and the orders. So we have continued to talk about water issues, the water security, and such things as structured water and how would that look, what would that look like in our communities. And we've continued to talk about the community gardens and the water treatment. So, and we've talked about the one small town concept, how we might implement that and focus on one particular area in the province, because we are, all spread out in different communities. And so yeah, just like I say, just kind of transitioning, but I'm so happy we've got such a wonderful core group that are so committed to this ongoing work. And we even had a brand new member join us last week. So we got together on a call on Saturday and met with her. So that's exciting to bring that new energy into our discussions. And I think with that, I'll yield.
Thank you so much, Karen. I'm so glad that I'm hearing that so many committees are still moving forward. We're so blessed too to have our health and well-being committee here in Alberta moving forward, and our environment committee is with Kimberly and Dorothy. And yeah, so it's just so great to know that the research is still being done, because there is a lot of work to do. And it's important work that we continue. So thank you again, Karen, for all you do, and everybody in Manitoba.
Thank you.
Okay, and one more question was, we have to be responsible for ourselves as sovereigns, to be responsible for ourselves as individuals. And if we're motivated to live as sovereigns, how can life force assist to achieve these goals? And as you know, for those of you who've been on these Monday calls from the very beginning, this is what we've been talking about in regards to sovereignty. It really is about self-responsibility. And as we begin to unplug from that matrix, as I was saying, unplugging from the government, unplugging from all those big box stores, etc., and unplugging from the sick care system, unplugging from our phones, right? And finding a way back to ourselves, to simplicity. And I know that, as sovereigns, we're all meant to live a prosperous life. We're all meant to live in abundance. We're all meant to have beauty around us. And right now, so many people are plugged in again to that matrix. So this is a time to really ask yourself, and many of you are unplugging in so many different ways. It's like, what can you do every day that you're just going to say, you know what, I am not going to do this anymore? Because I even look at myself with my phone, and my phone is actually meant to be a tool for communication, a tool for communication. But if I use my phone 24/7, it means I'm now addicted and it has more power over me. It's no longer a tool. It's an addiction, right? And addictions will always spiral us down. So this is what they want us to do, right? Is to keep us again focused outside of ourselves. So everything's okay in moderation, right? But yes, I do want to connect with Steve. He is our facilitator of our natural law think tank. And I want to have more discussions going forward on natural law. So I just may bring him here to speak to us about natural law. Okay. Oh, and Jim, yes, I saw your message in the chat. I love my home. I do have trees, one house down, and we have a massive ravine right next door here. It's beautiful. And so we're really blessed to have walking past everywhere in the Aspen Grove. But yes, I do love trees. I wish I had a garden full of trees. Change it here so that we can open up for a Q&A.
Karen, it's Barbara. Do you want to update for Ontario?
Oh, Barbara, I didn't. I got a message from Jeff, and he said that no one was going to be on the call tonight.
Oh no, I usually am on the call every Monday, but I'm an officer, but I was just sort of listening, and I thought, well, we're pretty active in Ontario as well, and we're still meeting every Thursday, and we're just discussing about keeping our meetings on Thursday, but one week we would do like a sort of a meeting with the committees, and then the next week we would have a meeting that was open to the public, trying to bring people in with skills to funnel them into the different committees that we have. So the environment committee is very active, health and wellness. James is here, I saw him earlier. He's the lead for health and wellness. The education committee is really active. We're planning to do a little education portal on our website where we condense the steps for, yoga and meditation for children, and teaching that in the home and in the schools, and have a teachers section where we can do that there as well. So we're still really active there. We're trying to encourage people still to come forward and to be with like-minded people. We're looking into, I think Kim gave us some really clear direction on going to what we want our end game to be. So if it's water, environment, or our whole world, look at what the end game is, back engineer, and then develop stepping stones to get from now to there. And so that's something that we're trying to bring to each committee and everything that we're thinking about. And then, manifesting that by working on those stepping stones and then trying to achieve them to get to that point at some point in the future. So I guess that's our update for Ontario.
Barbara, thank you so much. Yeah, I sent an email out to Tom and Jeff, and I asked if there was anyone in the council that wanted to share. And yes, I'm so glad that you shared, Barbara. Thank you so much. There's a lot of people from Ontario that are emailing me in regards to agriculture right now. I just connected with a man named Matthew, and he has a company called Food Forest Abundance. And I'm going to be interviewing him on Friday at noon. And so I just connected him with Lizette in Ontario as well. So yeah, there's a lot of movement happening in regards to food security and water security as well. So great, Barbara. Great update. Thank you. Ian, are you here from PI? I know Sasha's not here. Tanis, go ahead. Give us an update. What's going on with you guys there?
I can kind of give you what we're thinking of doing here in the Great White North of Alberta. We're going forward with the, microgreenery. We're going to also look into Lizette's greenhouses.
Excellent.
We have good news that one of our council members is going to actually, she talked to her husband, they will have us allow us to put it on their fields because they have 70 acres. So that's good. We found that out.
Okay, back up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I need that to land. That is very good. I think we all need that to land. That's very exciting, Tanis. Can you repeat that?
It is. We are going to put 2 of Lizette's greenhouses on one of our council members' pieces of land. She has a large acreage, and her husband said yes.
Yay, everyone. We are cheerleaders for project. Yay. Love.
Yeah. So that's great news. And also, I sent an email this week to the Magic Die Call people in the States there regarding the DPE shield. That's another one that we're going for. And like I said, we already have like the education thing on the go, and we're also going to consider doing a health and wellness center as part of the White Court Council. But like I said, we're doing this all with the Helping Hearts. Basically, it's not really, we're moving forward from the Helping Hearts community group perspective or whatever, right? But my question is like we do meet every Wednesday still as well, but we're still kind of going with the same flow as what we had before, and was taking minutes. But I'm thinking, do we really need to take minutes anymore?
No.
Because we're not. Yeah. Okay. Because it's not really. I'm calling it the Helping Hearts meetings now, because it's basically that's what we're doing. But we're still, like I said, we're still like the 2 councils that meet together and going forward full forward. So, but Yay. That's it.
Tennis. Yay, that's such good news. So when you have these agro tunnels delivered, shipped to the acreage, and you're ready to get, start building, etc. I know that Lizette was saying it's great to have community coming out to help build. I would love to travel out there, and I'm sure there's a few in Calgary that would love it to come out and support.
Well, I'm thinking we should just have like a great big barbecue
Yeah.
Right? Just invite anybody that wants to come, and we can have a great big celebration. So
Absolutely. That's so fantastic. And if people here do not know what the agri-tunnel is, if you go to the Community Supported Agriculture Think Tank YouTube channel, that's a mouthful, there is a presentation there on the food security structures. They're the most amazing greenhouses I've ever seen. You can just grow anything 12 months of the year, banana trees, you name it. There's also other types of greenhouses, but these ones are phenomenal. It can be -40 and you can still be growing food. Karen.
I saw that there were some comments in the chat about people sharing their products or services. Do we want to talk about that, or?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Karen. A few Mondays back, we had everyone sharing about their business, and Karen Hanna graciously put all the names together. And so we're going to be putting together the LFC Marketplace Telegram group. Thank you for the reminder too, Karen. I'm going to create that tonight. I'll be sharing the link on the next email that I send out this week, and you can share your business there. And of course, when you share, I do recommend, especially if you do not have an online business, your business is more local, you might want to say in the Calgary area. But I think it's just a great way for all of us to barter. If it's a local area, you're reaching out to people. It's like, hey, I have some eggs for sale in Brooks area, right? So that we can all begin to connect in that way. Thank you, Karen, for bringing that up. And it was sad when all this pandemic started, and I knew there was no virus. There's only a virus if you believe in the germ theory. But I knew, right, the news, the media, and what they were sharing out there, everyone was just going to be so afraid and caught up in the whole drama of it all. And now, there's the Ukraine, and people just believe there's a war, and they're just leaving their homes and fleeing the country. And it's just so sad to see all of this happening, and for no reason. Yeah. Kurt.
Yeah, I was just sharing that it seems to me that it could be a very simple sort of a start to a solution if Kim would just get everyone worldwide that's in the councils or assemblies, every individual, if she would get us all a DPE 100 unit that we could, plant in the backyard or the front yard or whatever, that would be a tremendous start for, healing the planet and the people.
Absolutely, Kurt. For those who have no idea what a DPE 100 is, can you share?
Yeah, I did put a link in the description there, but basically it repels all the electromagnetic frequencies, and especially the Wi-Fi and the 5G frequencies, and I think it like knocks it back like a long ways, because farmers' fields are becoming very plentiful and bountiful and stuff. So that's just a very basic. There's more to it than that, but that's my basic understanding of it.
So that would be then a project that you could write in and send to Kim when the website is up and running.
Yeah, we're still having our Yale County meetings on Thursdays, so I was going to bring it up there as well.
That's brilliant, Kirk. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'm glad you guys are having your meetings.
You bet. Thank you, Karen, for all you do.
Thank you. Barbara?
I just wanted to notify everybody that the media think tank is planning on this Saturday coming up to have a contributionism kind of symposium where we're going to explore One Small Town and the Venus Project and Thrive On. So we're going to be talking about those. We've been kind of researching all those over the last 2 weeks, and then we're going to come and talk about it and discuss it. And anybody that's interested is welcome to come all across Canada. We're trying to get people from all the councils. So if you're on your council, you could take it back to your council that the think tank will be having this on Saturday. I believe it'll be at 12 noon on Saturday, this coming Saturday. Mark, you're here. You can talk about it. Mark Northcott, he's going to be hosting this week.
Yeah, I happen to have the Zoom program that I can do breakout rooms. So we'll be able to break out into smaller groups to enable more conversation, a concentrated conversation that we can talk about the 3 or 4 different aspects of moving forward. And I've got some information on the media think tank. Actually, myself, Helen, Barbara, many of us have been posting some information to get everybody kind of prepped and able to read up a little bit on that. I have posted the invite link for the media think tank in the chat as well.
Thank you, Mark. And Mark, while you're here, can you share about volume 2?
Yes, volume 2. There's so much we're talking about tonight. I wish I had included in volume 2 as well, or we had included in volume 2. But it's on the website now, I understand, and possibly you've already sent it out. I'm not sure, but it's out, and we already have material for issue 3, so we're moving that one out forward as well. It's lots of stuff, lots of great stuff to talk about.
Thank you so much, Mark. I will be sending that out tomorrow through our broadcast email. And if anyone wants to check it out now, I do believe Zolt has updated it. So if you go to the lifeforcecanada.ca website, on the top menu bar, there is the newsletter. Just click on there and you'll find the new volume 2 edition of the newsletter. Thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate all the work you're doing. Sherry?
Oh, it was more just when you were saying about people, you couldn't believe that people were believing after 2 years of COVID now that they're starting to believe the media again and that they're leaving their homes for it. And I just was speculating that they'll probably start talking about aliens next and people will be doing the same thing.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. The CGI now that they have, I saw this one post and it was I'm not too sure what city it was, but it was on a shoreline and people were walking along the shoreline and all of a sudden a big shark comes out of the ocean. It's a massive shark, right? And people are running. I didn't know that technology, like you could actually do it anywhere in the world. Be walking along and all of a sudden an alien pops up in front of you kind of thing, right? So yeah, this is where we're being called to look within. Everything outside is entertainment. So thank you, Sherry. Thank you. Sometime in April, I would love for all of us to talk about Michael Tellinger again. I know he said that I could invite him back this year if I wanted to, so I can reach out to him again and see if he's open to having a conversation with us again, because I do love the model that he shared with us last year. And I know a lot of you are interested in learning more about that One Small Town movement. So thank you, Barbara. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, if I could add just a little bit more to that, I got excited when we started talking about the One Small Town, and I revisited the website at folks' request. I really like how everything is simplified in Tellinger's recounting of a One Small Town type of plan, and how it's been done elsewhere previously and before. But then I got into one of our the levels of thought we're investigating was having to do with the Venus Project as well. And wow, there is so much information, a wealth of information in that. I think things are really progressing to the point where like people heard about thrivemovement.com, get disconnected from this governmental suppression And then you got Venus Project, who's thinking way forward, but Ubuntu is a great intermediary thought process. So if people are looking at this, I think the best way to kind of approach this in a systematic way is to see how Michael Tellinger tells it and how the systems can be fit into place, and then look at how the Venus Project sees things happening. Because it does really fit together that way, I think, as a progression, and how we can really visualize things moving forward. So I just wanted to add that.
Beautiful, Mark. Yes, I love the Venus Project. I love the concept. I think I shared this with Simon and everyone before too, is that the university in the center, right? I think it's just brilliant. So a question I have in regards to the media think tank, does that mean you're just doing this for a moment and then getting back into what media questions, etc., moving the think tank back into media in regards to potentially UN and Canada having those conversations?
Well, I think the big question that we've had in the media think tank is like, how can we as a media address all these issues? In the media, we were, hopefully I'm speaking for most of the folks here. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in the media think tank. If we're thinking and contemplating a nationwide situation here that is really truly applicable globally, but in different areas. My background happens to be in architecture and landscape architecture for my degree work. So I am coming from a spot of design and needs assessment, kind of this language that I would use in that capacity as well. But when it comes to the media think tank, we needed to kind of understand how we're addressing like so many different things, right? We're supposed to maybe report on what's going on with all the various fields and all the different pillars around us. Well, how do we do that if we don't really understand it ourselves and what's happening in those areas? So this is one way for us to dive in to all the various pillars through a need assessment type of approach. And so the thought here is we're going to experiment this coming weekend with the breakout rooms, leave about 15-20 minutes at the end so we can come back, and appointed leaders within the, or spokespeople within the smaller groups could come back and report what we kind of came together with. And the question is basically, and basic and simple for this time around, and that's how can these systems best be applied to our towns? What do we need to do, and what kind of steps do we need to take? Because a lot of us feel like we need to take action, and this is the best, simplest, smartest way we can think of to take action. And I've already heard a few people already say, man, we're still meeting, and I enjoy the fact that they're meeting to take account of what resources are in their town, who's there, what kind of talents we have. So that's already doing the work for what Ubuntu and Venus projects and Tribe Movement has already been talking about. So bravo. We're already on the way. So it's just a matter of kind of seeing it and visualizing it, and getting more people like myself who want to draw some plans. I'm so eager to draw some plans. So and I could probably talk on this all night. So I'll just yield with that.
Totally open to having this conversation on a Monday evening. Once you guys got your ideas together, I think that'd be brilliant. Mark, Ontario, Mark. Hi, Mark.
Great. I'm glad that you decided to ask about the big picture questions today. And I was actually going to ask the exact same ones myself. I'm going to try and be succinct. We have a vision for Canada and the world, and it consists of a parallel system, a system that's parallel to the de facto system. I think we need to figure out, how do we go about implementing that vision? Or more specifically, what is the roadmap and what is the timeline? And I believe that until Lifeforce Canada comes up with a roadmap and timeline to achieve our parallel system, I think we'll forever be floundering around, spinning our wheels and waiting for someone to tell us what to do next. And this is regardless of whether we get funding from someone or not.
Right. Yes.
I yield.
Thank you, Mark. Brilliant. Thank you. Great questions. Yes. So we have started in regards to, for example, the education pillar. So we have the Lifeforce Canada Education.ca portal, and that's really to get parents and teachers who are awake and aware, who want to who are stepping out or who want to step out of the education system that we already have and to create a new system. So they get to share their skill sets, their learning pods, whatever it is. So that is moving forward. As more people discover that portal, as more teachers share their knowledge on that portal, then we're able to really step up and we're in that pillar. We have our health and wellness. We do have a website that we are co-creating right now so that all the doctors and nurses, etc., across Canada can really step out of the old model. And then once the health assurance cards are here, then we will link that website to our Canadian website. Then we'll be able to offer that here as well. And there's also going to be a directory in that website as well. And so that's going to be key. Again, like I was saying, you know, this is about all of us stepping out of the matrix ourselves individually. What does it look like for all of us to step out of it individually? So for me, I don't want to buy my vegetables anymore. It's crazy expensive and I'm going to start growing them, even though I don't have a garden outside. These are the steps that we need to take. So every week we all need to look at ourselves. Okay, what did I do this week that allowed me to unplug even more from the matrix? Because the parallel society will not happen, like I mentioned earlier, until consciousness has shifted. Karen, you had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to tag on to what Mark Northcott was talking about with the media think tank. What had happened there was we had been discussing an awareness campaign of how we could connect with, you know, so many of these other organizations across the country that are, you know, have been working for the last couple of years to wake people up and let them know what's really going on, and you know, that sort of thing. And so then that's where it kind of led us to the discussion about the one small town concept and how we could maybe jump into something more quickly and you know, have something that we could be you know, have some tangible evidence of creating, so that we're not waiting for the funding or waiting for Kim to get the new website up or any of that sort of stuff, that we could focus our attention that way. So like I said, it was sort of a part of how we could make what we're doing with Life Force Canada known to some of these other groups and actually have a project to work on.
Brilliant, Karen. Thank you for sharing that. It's important for all of us to be doing what we can right now. And I'm so glad you said, you know, we're not waiting for funding. We are not waiting for others out there, right? We are powerful. We are amazing creators. So we get to move forward and create the reality that we want. And Mark from Ontario, I just wanted to share with you that when we started Life Force Canada, we were sharing with everyone that we have a 10-year plan. LJ, hello, LJ.
Hi there. I love the discussions around one small town and all that. Our county, we're continuing to meet. We're looking at we talked to the ambassador for Canada, and we actually are working with an entire island to move with not only one small town, but we also have a potential investor for a health and wellness clinic that is totally off the grid, or not off the grid, but out of the model, setting up a different model. So it's so exciting. And I've been part of Solutions. I've been part of the Thrive On Solutions Hub for a while now. So it's lovely to see all of this coming together, because I think the more that we work in collaboration with all the great minds, because let's face it, this is where all the great minds are, is they're coming forward and they're saying, we're out of the matrix. We got to change it because it's not working, obviously. And if anybody hasn't figured that out in 2 years, I'm not sure. So, you know, so we're quite excited and we are moving, and I'm also working with an intentional community as as well, that's looking at somewhere on Vancouver Island, so it's nice to see things coming through, and it's only with groups like really explore our own potential. And I think that's the real important part, is to give ourselves permission, because we've been taught that we've always had to look for permission outside instead of internally. So this allows us to say, no, the permission comes from within, and it comes from your own creativity. And how are we going to work together to use and leverage each other's special skills to make it all happen? So we are moving along, we're trucking. So, and I'm in, someone asked where I'm from. I'm in Victoria. I'm County Victoria on Vancouver Island in the rain. And I yield.
Thank you, LJ. That's so great what you're doing. And yes, it's about all of us tapping into our creativity. I love it. Brian, go ahead.
I've been listening to a lot of stuff going on this evening. I just felt compelled to say something. And Cecil was talking about the work they're doing in BC. And I kind of stuck my nose in there a few times, and they've welcomed me into their little meetings, and it's great to be part of all of that. And I'd like to thank them for letting me take part in their committees. I've been involved with the media think tank as well, the educational think tank, and you're talking about microgreens. I can't remember who was talking about from Saskatchewan. She says get together with her neighbors, Manitoba and Alberta. And I just wanted to say that I think that's a great idea. You bounce ideas off of each other, and you might have ideas that work for them, and they might have ideas that work for you. It's a great idea to work with your neighbors. And the topic of one small town, I'm definitely, I think that is so important. And there is one other thing that I just want to touch on a little bit. I've been in a lot of different meetings with a lot of different people. And one of the nice experiences, I'm going to say it's a nice experience, is that Barb from Ontario, me and her, we disagree a lot, but there is really no animosity. We're bouncing ideas back and forth, and we don't always agree. I don't think we ever did agree, but it's great to have these alternative perspectives, and it's basically in a group full of people, and we all work together. And I think one way is I think a different way, but everybody is open to think any way that they want, and we'll through that we can come to what we think is best for everyone. And one other thing is, just want to say, I want to give a lot of credit to everybody, because I do a lot of different meetings. Give credit to everybody. There's so many people doing so much work. It's great to see it all, and it's incredible. I've been with other groups, and I've never seen so much work being done like this. With that, I yield.
Brian, I just want to say that I agree with you all the time. You only hear from me when I disagree with you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
I love it, Brian. He always gives me such good info.
Yeah, he's a brilliant man. Thank you. I am always so impressed with everyone that shows up on Monday. You are all just beautiful hearts, beautiful human beings, and I am honored to be on this journey with you. Thank you for being here, and look forward to having you on our think tank calls this week. And lots of love, everyone. If you want to stay for the meditation, I'm just going to have a short meditation tonight, but we're going to be focusing on our deep breathing, making sure that we are breathing in that life force energy. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Lots of love.